Rioux-Hoiland. Elaine, can you hear me?
I can.
Awesome. Yeah, yeah, you have two Skype connections. It's kind of strange. We have to figure that out. But I'm glad I got you. I had a little problems getting through to Elaine, but we're good now. And my very, very good friend Barbara Threecrow is also with us. Barbara, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How are you?
Oh, wonderful.
It's wonderful to be here.
I'm so excited to have you two in house. And Elaine really wanted to meet you, so I'm glad that happened too. So yeah, we wanted to start the show off with this picture that Barbara sent out to me through Skype. It's absolutely an incredible picture. I shared it with the hosts at Revolution Radio of the children at Standing Rock. It's an evening picture, so at night when you take pictures, or even in the daytime, you often see orbs in pictures. But this one is just like it's like a sky full of orbs. It's just absolutely incredibly beautiful. So, Elaine, what do you think about this picture?
Oh, I thought it was absolutely beautiful. It was very reminiscent and affirming that the spirit is with us again, just like the buffalo when they came, when there was the standoff on the weekend. And then to see all the ancestors above the children is just, it's heartwarming.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And Barbara, anything to add?
Um, well, I'll tell you.
Maybe tell us the history of the picture, where it came from.
Well, I really don't know. Obviously, it came from Standing Rock, but a um, a friend of mine who is native. Of course, she knows a lot of people, and I'm sure she has friends out there. And she sent it to me today, and I hadn't had a chance to get back to her. About a particular person who may have taken it or what was really going on, But she sent it to me. And yes, when I saw it, I was so deeply touched, of course, and I knew I had to share that. I knew it really had to go out. Um, so I've shared it with a lot of people, and everybody just responds with capital WOW. Wow. But for me, I was deeply, deeply sad the other day after what had happened. Well, many things have happened, certainly, that have touched me and many people about what's going on there at Standing Rock. And I guess the day that just dropped me into real dark sadness was, yeah, that standoff and what they were doing, what happened, what they did to the people. Um, Listening to some of the elders and young people talking about it, and plus watching the videos on on their Facebook site, on the Standing Rock Facebook Stone Camp, Spirit Stone Camp. I just couldn't stop exclaiming, oh my, oh my, oh, you know, what we always say, oh my God. And I was just, I guess, it's hard to find the words, what was going on, but several days before that particular episode, um, I was guided to pray. We've been praying very hard for the people at Standing Rock. Everybody all over the world is praying. They're praying for the protectors, the water protectors. And I got the message to pray for the safekeeping and the protection of not only the water protectors, the people there, but the Chanumpa Wakan, the sacred pipe. And so this was a very powerful message. And then when I saw and heard the elders talking about, and the young man who was pouring the water there in the Inipi, the purification lodge, when they came and dragged them out of prayer ceremony and threw them on the ground and took these sacrets from the altar, the Chanumpa and other sacreds that they would have there, as some of us know in the ceremonies. These are sacred, very, very revered sacred items. And some of them are handed down through generations, of course. And, putting those plastic zip ties tight, pulling their arms back in their hands and putting these plastic zip ties around their wrists so tight. This young man said that he had bruises. And then he showed us a number marked on the inside of their arm. They marked every one of those 140 some people who were arrested that day when they booked them. Big black numbers on the insides of their arms. Put them in dog cages. Packed them in dog cages, they said.
Mhm.
I just cried. I've been really feeling this very heavy, of course, and I'm not the only one. And just listening and watching that film and then watching the buffalo come, we do know that was a beautiful sign. Buffalo, the Tatanka Oyate coming over that hill was
Mm.
so beautiful, so powerful a message. It means something to the people so deeply that others wouldn't understand if you didn't really know this tradition. They would not get why this was so significant, why this was so important. And one of the elders said that he saw in the eyes of a couple of policemen tears. There they were in all their riot gear, like they were in the middle of the Iraqi war or something. Batons, pepper spraying the grandmothers and whomever they wanted, pushing people around and with their guns raised up like they were entering into a mob's house or a crack house or something in the city, like you see pictures of them, raised guns, opening up the trailer door and the teepees. It was like watching a movie. It was like something unreal. It was hard to comprehend that this, Ryan, what's that noise?
Oh, nothing.
Brian, that this, what is that, Tic Tacs or something?
I know it's my toothpicks. You can hear that?
Stop it.
Yes, we can.
I'm talking here. Really, really, very deeply important.
I'm listening, dear. I'm listening.
I'm just touched here in this moment of what I saw, what I experienced. I'm trying to express how it was incomprehensible that this is here in the United States of America, in South Dakota. But I must say, it is nothing new to the Indian people. It's like going back to the 1890s, 1800s, watching this, except the clothes are different.
Yeah.
And this isn't the cavalry, but it is the government's soldiers and the military mindset ramping up here in this country. But what I'm getting to here is something, after watching the videos and listening to these people talking, and I went outside and as I said, I wrote Chief Charles Two Dog and Skyped him. I said, my heart is so sad today. And I went outside and, as I often do, just to touch base out there, and just sat and talked and prayed a little bit. And I was thinking of what it would be like to be there. I wish I were there. And I'm sorry to have to say that. Gee, I wish I could be there. It seems so frivolous and stupid to have to say that. I wish I could be there. We should all be there, really. And my prayers are there. My heart is there. My spirit is there. And I'm sitting there and I'm feeling the people and I'm feeling there in my whole self. And I heard this voice say, what would the elders say to the people there? They would say, don't lose faith, don't lose hope, be strong, have courage. The power of our prayers and the power of the Chinabawakan. Don't forget that. Have faith in all of this. And it uplifted me because it's true.
Yeah.
I found myself going into a place of, I guess you'd say, really deep sorrow, but also helpless and hopeless. And we don't want to go there. We don't want to go there. We cannot afford to be in that energy. So, so back to the orbs. Oh, the orbs. Well, I have seen the orb. I have seen the spirits come that way around many ceremonies, And that was so, as you said, Elaine, a validation that we are not alone. The people are not alone. The ancestors are there watching and dancing and praying for the children and the people there. They're people. They've been there from the beginning.
Yeah.
And that just, that's what it means to me. And so I was very thankful to have received that beautiful photograph. I think it really is very important to know. And I said to Brian, I said, creators at work here. We never really know what creators doing.
Yeah.
We just don't.
Sure. No.
Right, Elaine? We don't know what creators doing. What we have a job to do. Our job, we need to keep steady with it. We need to keep strong. We need to keep our hearts really in a good place, our spirits really strong. We don't know, but I feel creators at work here. There's something big time going on here. And I guess you'd say one of the things, I know I'm going on here a bit, but I'll just share this little piece here. Years ago, reading Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee and many other accounts from the people of Indian people about what happened, I thought how remote they were. And all these atrocities happened to them. They're way out there on the plains in this remote place. Nobody knows, the white people, anybody. No other people knew what was going on. And of course, anybody could just go back and say, these Indians did this and these Indians did that. Okay, let's go get them. But nobody really knew. Nobody knew what was going on. Nobody knew the massacres. No one really did know because they were so remote. Now, today, we have the World Web. Everybody's got iPhones,
Yeah.
We have the web, we have telephones, we have iPhones, everything. So people all over the world are watching the United States. The political, presidential madness, that's going on is a big diversion, huge deliberate diversion of what really is important, what really needs to be paid attention to, and, something needs to be done. But the whole world is watching. I feel creators at work here big time,
Yeah, so. Because, their media blackout isn't working anymore.
Right.
Because of the World Wide Web. And as much as they're trying to keep it as it was back then, it's not working because everyone's reaching out. And as quickly as somebody is wiped off of Facebook because they're posting the absolute truth, somebody else is picking it up. And we're talking about it. And that's the difference now is people are talking about it and the truth is coming out. And even the atrocities, there's no excuse for it in today's time because today what's going on is exactly what happened back in the 1800s.
Right.
So as far as we've come as a people, we haven't changed. And, that's why it's so important that we start putting the teachings out there that people need to start healing from within themselves and not to get caught up in the chaos, but to send the love and the respect for what the people are actually doing. The caretakers, the protectors of the water protectors, the water carriers, the pipe carriers, They all need, for us to send our love. And as much as our hearts hurt for what's going on, it's important to stay in that love energy, because that's what Creator is asking us to do.
And that's the most powerful thing that we can do.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's very important that we don't get angry. Those are different energies. We really need to hold that, just to be there and know that they are being deliberately provoked. And the elders, they had said right off that in their prayers, ceremonies, they received the guidance to be peaceful.
Yep.
Peaceful protectors. And so to uphold that, when you have this deliberate provocation, and they're doing that, of course, deliberately, so that they can claim that, yeah, they're, troublemakers, they're rioters, that's what they're pushing them for.
Look at all the peaceful protests that we've done, and it's always somebody, insurgents, to give them an excuse, to charge in and do these atrocious things. I mean, here are these beautiful people in prayer with their feathers and smoke rising, and there's so much fear based around that from corporations that they actually have to go in and do things like take their pipe and their sacred medicines and destroy what is so sacred to the people. And modern regular society is starting to notice, and they can feel the assault on their own souls of what's going on, and they're wanting to change because of this. So there's a much larger aspect happening here outside of Standing Rock, because it's waking a lot of people up, and it's amazing to see.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying when I say that there's something happening here bigger than,
Absolutely.
the creators at work, great spirits at work.
You bet.
And I had to laugh because was it the head of the Standing Rock Sioux there, Ochumba, is that how you say his name?
I'm not sure how it's pronounced.
Anyway, he was saying, and this was last month, I think, that the sheriff was claiming that people said that they had pipe bombs, and the head of this Sioux Standing Rock was saying, we don't have pipe bombs, we have the chanumpa, which is a pipe. And he said, and it's pretty powerful.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. People don't realize the power of prayer, and I mean, when we watch what's going on and we see through our prayers the shift that's happening, with you sharing that picture of all the spirits above the children, that's affirmation to everybody who's been praying for so long, because, they can only be there in spirit and prayer. And so being able to share a picture like that shows them that those prayers are being answered, they're being heard, that they're not alone. And that's a good thing.
I also think it represents the fact that they want the children to be there. I think
absolutely.
Children are a very powerful force. We underestimate the power of the children, because the children, they will not dare hurt the children. I can tell you that much. That would really turn the world against them. So the power of the children to be there and to be in ceremony with them is going to help win this battle.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But hey, I didn't really give you a chance to say much about your life history or your spiritual experiences, Elaine. And I know that you and Barbara have a lot in common, but Barbara's fairly well known to my audience. But tell us a bit about your life and your journey in the spiritual world.
It's been a long journey for myself. Grandmothers call me she who stands alone. Because I follow spirit. It's been my teaching my whole life. I've walked away from my family. They tried to silence that part of me, and it was too strong in me to silence. So I chose to journey by myself and follow spirit guidance, which guided me out west. And since I've been out west, I met a lot of people that affirmed for me the knowledge that I have. I've learned my lineage being out west Interestingly enough,
Where out west are you, Elaine?
I'm in BC.
Okay.
I'm up just in the eastern foothills out of the lower mainland, kind of southern Okanagan interior area.
Beautiful area.
It is. When we moved here, I wasn't too sure I wanted to be here because there's a lot of dark energies, a lot of work that needs to be done here. But as I journeyed around the area, a lot of the old rock paintings called to me. There have been, people have lived here for generations that don't know these rock paintings exist, and some of them are right there beside the road. They've all called to me. I've gone through great experiences with them. I've had friends who are shaman and medicine men come up and visit, and I've taken them to these places, and we've gone through past life regressions. We've reawakened ceremonies that have been silenced for centuries. It's amazing to be able to see spirit reawaken and call out in gratitude. A lot of the shaman that I've walked with and the medicine men have been strong. Grandmothers brought them to me when they had asked me when I needed a physical teacher, what I would require. And I had said, I need someone who can affirm the knowledge I have so I can move forward in my knowing. And so they brought Randall Nachapa Chips. He was first shaman. He was a great teacher of teaching not to judge books by its cover. Just because someone doesn't appear as you expect them to be, don't doubt, who they are and what they speak of. Listen carefully. I met Joe Okala. He was a lodge teacher. I'd gone down and done some work at a medicine wheel and doing healing with some of the residential schools. I was outside in a drumming circle as the elders were inside doing the work, and a young fellow was left in charge of the drumming circle, and I'd gone into trance. I was working, and I got a tap on the shoulder, to stop. The young fellow wanted to do a heartbeat. And of course, because he's in control of the circle, I had to, and I dropped to my knees because it was like somebody had just crushed my heart. And in that instant, Mary, who ran the circle, came out and said, pick up the beat. We're working in here. Afterwards, I'd asked if I could, have a sweat and explained what had gone on. And unfortunately, I was denied. After the circle was closed down, this medicine man came and he said, I understand you need to have a sweat. He says, next week, I'll come up to your place. We'll do a sweat. I was so grateful. What I didn't realize was when he came up that he intended on beginning my teachings to be a lodge keeper myself, which was interesting. The grandmothers had always told me, you need to get into the lodge. You need to get into the lodge. There's great teachings in there. And in that lodge and through those teachings, I learned the women's healing song, which it's amazing to use, especially with the earth. She resonates so well with it because, of course, the feminine energy is what's needed right now. And you can see with what's going on in politics down in the States that those that are running for the presidency right now have a real disdain for the feminine. And I find it really interesting that's, they're trying to offset what's growing in the feminine energies right now. So, everything kind of fits together. Last week you had Barbara and Maureen on, and they were talking about their teacher, Frank. I also met him at one of the medicine wheels down on the coast. It was wonderful to meet him because he was a very strong teacher in affirming the knowledge that I had. We worked together for a long time, and it's nice to be able to work with somebody who still has the joy. We used to laugh a great deal. I think once you work with spirit and understand how it goes, I mean, you see so many people that have gone through hard lives, yet can still laugh because we see it. We see the connection, and you can't help but laugh at the, I don't know if you want to call it irony or the absolute truth of it, but it just moves through you. You can't help but giggle because it's just so pure and true. And from my own sufferings of physical disabilities and life experiences. My goal and purpose is to help others to awaken, to heal, to be empowered. We all have this gift in us, and now's the time. And I see it happening more and more. There's more people that are stepping into the power, starting to speak their truth. And as they speak their truth, it gives permission to others to realize that there's nothing wrong with them. They're not alone. We all have the ability to listen to spirit, to use our gifts. We've all been born pure beings, and it's society and life and teachings that, kind of dampen that in us as we grow. And I think there's a lot of reason that a lot of people have become addicted or use alcohol because of the fact that they don't understand it, and they try and dampen that. I think if we went in as people who are connected to spirit into places where they have people incarcerated, or into medical hospitals for the mentally ill, we would be able to help those people, because we see things differently than the medical doctors today. Somebody who's schizophrenic, labeled so, is because they hear voices. They just don't have the guidance to be able to understand that this is outside of them. This is bigger than them. There's just so many aspects that can help people if they just understood that it's spirit connection, and that we are all gifted, and that it's okay to care, it's okay to feel. And the further we go, the faster we grow. And it's exciting now. Yeah, we're in exciting times. More people are waking up to it, recognizing each other. You see it, you meet somebody and you just know that we've been here before. We've done this dance before. And a lot of us know that this time around, we want to get it right. We won't stop until we get there. So I don't know what else to say on that one.
That's an interesting. So you've lived very much like myself. I was not. I was born into a family that discouraged everything that was good about who I was, and very much tried to sell me on the money god and the materialistic kind of lost world we live in. And yeah, I resisted it too, and I was guided very much saved by spirit, nature spirit. And yeah, Mother Earth came to me at a very young age, so I was blessed. It still didn't make things easy, and it still isn't easy, because we're all still very much in a minority. But I sense that this whole thing in Standing Rock is extremely important for the world, because it's bringing together the natural people, the spirited people, the ones who are connected, and they may not see nature spirits or whatever, but they certainly understand the importance of Mother.
Absolutely. And as Barbara was mentioning, and I mentioned earlier, the buffalo coming in, those who may not be completely awake, they know the significance of this. It's powerful, and it's I've seen it affect people who have been in the materialism, and all of a sudden it's like a light went off. So we're seeing that, and it's global, and it's been moving and growing for quite some time. I think now, though, more of us are being brought together, because it's bigger than just any one of us can do anymore.
Yeah, we have to unite. We have to unite our energies in order to escape this this darkness that's taken over the world. And the key is to actually from my point of view, they've got an incredible complex of organized tyranny here, and we have to overcome it by reuniting our own spiritual energies with the other side. This is going to be the key to getting out of this age of darkness. And as Barbara has said many times, and I respect her very much for saying this, it isn't going to be some God that comes here to save. It's going to be our own individual energies and collective spirit and love of mother and love of and understanding of how spirit works that's really going to make a difference here in this
Oh,
age.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, when we come to understand that corporations, in their effort to stop those who are aware of the damage being done to the earth, the water, animals, forests, the standing, all of it, uh, they actually force the government to create a law to label people domestic terrorists when all they are people with caring hearts. There is no terrorism involved. The only terrorism is towards the greed of corporations, and changing that is going to be no simple task. And that's why it's important to start from within each of us and how we respond to the world outside. Like we had talked before, Brian, about when we are spending money, because money has such a negative connotation to it, that every time we do transactions with money, if we have the intention of putting love into that money, then we can start changing it from the inside. It's a collective decision to want to change, and it needs discipline.
Yeah, last week we talked about the fact that they said that they bless the money. Barbara and Maureen were saying they whenever they get money, they bless it
Mm-hmm.
and put love into the money. I
There
thought
you go.
it's a great idea.
Like minds. Yes, spirit guides as well. We are not alone.
Well, because I feel money is part of creation. It's gotten a bad rap.
Yep,
It's really people have become very corrupted due to, the imprints of greed, which is a very, very, it's a sickness. Greed is really a sickness. It
it
owns
is.
people, rules people. But money is an energy, as everything has an energy. And how do you work with energy? That's very important. So, yes, so everything that we are involved with, especially money, I relate to it with the gratitude and definitely a blessing of gratitude. And I work with the energy of the placement of the money in my wallet, I was saying, for a
Mm.
flow of receiving and a flow of gifting. Um, so it sits in my wallet in a certain position so that and I'm, in a way, my intention is that this money is received with much gratitude and will be used and gifted in a beautiful way. So that's how I relate to the money.
And flow is an important thing, as well as gratitude. Um,
Absolutely.
a
So,
lot of
yeah.
people, of course, they're getting stuck in depressions because uh, of the energy around money. People feel that they always don't have enough, when in actuality they have exactly what they need. They have a roof over their head. Um, you know, they can eat. They've got clothes. They might not be eating a lot, and they may not have a great amount of clothes to change into. But if they recognize and are grateful for the things that they do have, to do so on a daily basis actually changes the energy in a person's life and raises happiness levels exponentially. And in so doing, in that happiness and trying to recognize the happiness and focusing on what they'd like to see manifest in the future, continues this flow forward. And it's just amazing, of course, because we know everything is energy. We are energy, and it's energy is the intent behind it, and we all have the ability to change the energies that are at work right now with our own intent. And it's all heart based.
And that's really on many levels. It's on everything about life. It's
Absolutely.
our intention, and we have the power and the gift and the ability to change things. And we can change prophecy. Prophecy is just sort of like a warning sign.
Hmm.
Prophecies are spoken of, and they're as a warning. You can look at it and you could pray, and you can change, um, really change a prophecy. It does not have to be. It's not written in stone, because many things do change
Yeah.
that we thought may be so or come true or whatever. But I think people are in such fear, um, and also disempowered, and feel helpless.
Yeah.
And of course, that's a lot to do with the media, um, you know, baiting them that they don't have enough, that
Hmm.
they don't have the big this or the big that, or the best this or the best that. And
Yeah.
I think people have a lot of anxiety and fear and feel helpless. And so, yes, of course, if you feel helpless, you believe you're helpless, you're creating your reality.
Yeah.
That's the magic and mystery of things, of course,
It is. Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
is what you believe, what you focus on is actually what you draw to you.
Yeah. And I mean, that's why media is set up the way that it is. It draws people into that hopelessness. When you can sit down and talk to somebody about an absolute truth and they won't believe it because it wasn't on the news,
Hmm.
because TV has been set up that way to, take our power away, to help, make people forget that they are powerful, that they have the magic within them, that we have been created in an image. When we look at our body and the ability that it has to heal itself, how can we not be in awe of the magic of life? We see it everywhere. Water has memory. Water can heal itself through prayer, through intent. Everything can be shifted and changed.
Well, everything has its what I call the blueprint of the superior intelligence, which of course is source that created
Absolutely.
everything, and
Yeah.
it has its molecular structure that was originally in harmony and balance, and that's being corrupted. And of course, we are 70 some percent of water, and that
Hmm.
that frequency within us has been um, also corrupted
Yep.
emotionally and spiritually,
Hmm.
and physically. And yes, and there are powerful and ancient ceremonies that can harmonize and rebalance and change the molecular structure back to its original memory of the water.
That's
So
true.
there's amazing, really beautiful gifts that Creator, Mother, Father has given to us,
Absolutely.
And I
Yeah.
always say, it's like, always say to Brian, I said, we never needed anything. Everything we ever needed was here.
All the time. Yep.
We didn't need to create anything. We didn't really need to go out and build something. Everything, the medicines, the clean water, the air, everything, the fruits,
Everything. Yeah.
everything was gifted to us,
Yeah.
and we got arrogant, I guess, saying we could make better this or a better that, or it's just the madness of some minds, I suppose, that are never satisfied.
Yeah.
Trying to understand scientists, for instance,
Yeah.
that they can't seem to stop themselves. It's that mind, I guess. Well, is that wrong? I'm not
It's
saying
the
that it's
power,
wrong.
Barbara. It's the
Hmm.
power that comes from harnessing this technology to. It's the power of consciousness. This is what's ruining everything.
Well,
Well,
they
but
take the same.
technology is good. It's just being used in the wrong way.
That's right.
And all you need is a few people to say, "Oh, look, they made a smart bomb over there. Let's use it for for to attack another person or another group of people. Oh, look, they've made, whatever. I mean, there's always some mind that is in the dark. A mind is being manipulated by
Yeah.
some entity that is really a dark entity that is
Yeah.
careless or corrupt or
Well,
harmful.
we see that with our traditional medicines, the pharmaceuticals wanting to make it, against the law for us to grow our own medicines because they've taken our knowledge and changed it so much that there isn't anything pure in the medicine anymore. And so it creates illnesses instead of healing the people, because of course there's no money to be made when everybody is healthy. And yeah, I mean, we see it all the time.
I call it the break it and fix economy. Break it and fix it, but they never really fix it.
Well, they break it and change it. I don't know about fixing it.
Yeah.
Well, if people became empowered, all right, and could be in their conscious relationship to everything as was the original state, an awakened state, an awareness, a conscious awareness of themselves in relationship to everyone and everything, they wouldn't need the TV. They wouldn't need to be entertained. They wouldn't be needing to live vicariously through the Kardashians or whomever those people are that have today. I don't know. Maybe they're.
I don't know them because I don't really watch
I don't know.
I've heard the name.
Yeah, but I just see, because I do a lot of research. So I'm looking at I don't look at the Hollywood stuff, but it's right in your face all the time. If you're looking for something in the news or on a particular website, they've got these, all this information is like on a daily basis on these movie stars.
They're selling the body cosmetic surgery stuff. That's what that's all about.
The body enhancement.
Yeah, it's absolutely unbelievable. So
that we forget that we were created in perfection
and beauty, sacredness. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, get back just before I forget, because I'm being drawn back by spirit to talk about this picture some more, because it's so powerful. By the way, if anybody wants to see this beautiful picture of the children being sort of protected and sort of enlightened by all the different orbs, you can go to my Facebook page, Brian Porter. I'm in Canada, Toronto area. I've got a picture of myself with my two kids, one on each side as my picture. I've got a bright orange shirt on. I'm on a beach. So if you want to see this picture, it's very inspiring. And that just brings me to the issue of pictures and the energy in pictures. This is an interesting topic because I've seen it on both ways. I've seen pictures that absolutely, now that I'm very sensitive now to energy, much more than I used to be when I was younger, I've seen pictures that have just made me almost want to throw up. Because there's so much darkness in them, right? Whereas this picture is the opposite. It's pure love energy, pure love, and oh God, it's like almost like it's sort of the epitome of what we need to become to be overcome the darkness here. It's everyone together, not just here, not just on this plane, but with the other planes too.
And it's beautiful. Perfect. I do want to say about that picture that there have been many photographs over the years of orbs. We've often seen the orbs around ceremony, and I was in a monastery, a 200-year-old monastery, when I was in Pasto in Colombia, and the caretaker showed me these photographs that they took as they were renovating it, and it was filled with hundreds and hundreds of orbs. Beautiful, and we've often seen them around ceremony and so on, and in the woods, I've seen in the woods and out in nature, and this particular picture is on the note of the person who took the photograph was saying that if there's any question about the claim, in parentheses, the claim of the Standing Rock people, that their grounds, that is sacred ground there of their ancestors, this will basically show you that it's very real. Because these spheres or orbs, really what they represent is a spirit essence, an entity of a spirit, an essence of a spirit. Some people call them spheres or orbs. Some people call them the light fairy lights. Various people have different description for these things. We call them, of course, spirits. That's how they are appearing. So I don't know if you had anything else, Elaine, that you wanted to share about that particular photograph, because I think someone was asking Brian um, about what were those things.
Oh, it's definitely the spirit of the ancestors. They are surrounding those children and keeping them safe. It's proof positive that they stand on sacred ground.
Yeah.
That the grounds are sacred to them for a reason. It's the land of their ancestors. They've stood there for centuries together and continue, to be connected. Um, it's hard to explain to someone about spirit entity. We're used to seeing orbs. I see them all the time, of course, because we are in ceremony, and the people that are around us, we take pictures, we see orbs, we see the energy. So it's familiar to us. But even so, that picture took my breath away to see how many were standing with the children. And I think that the amount in the picture alone will take the person's breath away, of whoever looks at it.
Well, I'll tell you, I've never had so many people comment on a post on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I mean, I've had to shut it down for the show, but I'll look. I'm sure there's going to be hundreds more. I mean, people are just blown away by this picture. And the other thing about it that's really cool is that the orbs are not all the same size or of the same intensity. So you can actually see the spiritual development of the person, of the actual spirit in the orb. It's absolutely fascinating. Because some of them are like, one of them is so big it looks like the moon. And yeah, I'm sure that's some very wise.
Well, I wouldn't make any
assumptions like that.
I wouldn't make any assumption like that. That's yeah. I wouldn't.
Well, that's
really.
what I'm getting, but I mean, yeah, we all have our different opinions.
No, I mean, because it doesn't matter. You could say, well, there's a tiny orb over there. It must not be a well-developed spiritual essence, but that's something we have no clue about. We really don't. I feel that's my opinion. It just I have seen many different sizes and shapes, and the fact that they are appearing as a spirit, as an ancestor, is powerful in itself, and so sacred. And that land, that is burial sites there. They're talking about this is a burial site. So aside from that, yes, and now the children, the grandchildren, and the great grandchildren are there standing together for the first time in how many years? Hundreds, 200 years.
Yeah.
All the tribes coming together, the 7 SETI tribes coming together. It's been many, many years.
Yeah.
And then others coming from different parts of the country, different and native people, not necessarily the Lakota or
Are there
the people.
not 280 tribes present there now?
280 tribes.
From around the world?
From different parts of the world. They've come from the Maui, and from
Brazil.
Australia.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, all over Africa. and so,
I mean, the children looking at that picture as well is going to empower these children like children have never been empowered before. This is one aspect of technology where we're going to see it make a huge difference on spiritual growth, because these children have that understanding already. And to look at that picture and see that support, none will ever doubt the spirit connection. I mean, if I'd been a child and I had been able to see something like that around me, I mean, not that I really doubted, but it would have so solidified my path a lot sooner. And I think we're going to see that with the children there too.
Well, it's I just feel there's so many talking about this is the time of prophecy, the time of the coming together of all nations, of the rainbow prophecy, the rainbow tribe, all people coming together to stand up for the earth and for the coming generations. And this is a prime example right there at Standing Rock. You have all types of people, all nations of people there coming together. And this is so much the time of prophecy. And the other prophecy of which was given to me many years ago about this time that we're in as the return of the sacred feminine, sacred masculine partnership, where we need to come together, brothers and sisters, men and
Yep.
women. We need to heal what the agenda had put upon us to separate us, to put us in that separation of the men and women, where we have harmed each other and have high expectations, false, unrealistic expectations of each other. So you start off having, an agenda for a person, friend or partner, whatever it is, and the false expectations. Um, Starting back as a child, being told who you're supposed to be, how you're supposed to act, what you're supposed to look like. This is not just for girls. This is for boys.
Mm-hmm.
And that piece, I really feel that it was a deliberate agenda to keep us separated, to keep us, really um, a, that partnership that we were originally, like you say, the matrilineal, the clan mother system, was a partnership system.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where men and women stood strong together, you know? And this is a time of needing to come back to that. And I find it very fascinating that in our political chaos right now here in the United States, everything that is has been put in place by the dominator patriarchy rule for hundreds of years is falling apart and being exposed.
Yep.
You know, the corrupt government, the corrupt education, the lies about history,
Yeah.
the banking finance.
And I get that name right, Elaine? How do you say your last name?
Rioux-Hoiland.
Rioux-Hoiland. Well,
Yeah.
that's a interesting name. Part French. Yes, we were discussing this in the chat over the break, folks. Elaine is part French. And Barbara Threecrow. Now, this is the time in my show when I always talk about the importance of supporting Revolution Radio. It's the most popular internet alternative site on the internet. We have 80 shows on 2 different platforms, Studio A. Well, I'm on Studio B right now. And yes, it's so important that you support the great work of all the hosts here. And this is probably one of the best places to also get accurate information about what's actually happening, whether it's in politics, economics, native wisdom, as something I focus on a lot on my show, as well as all the environmental issues that we face, a lot of the solutions. So it's really important that you support this platform, because it does cost money to run a station, to buy internet time and do all the get the servers and all that hardware, and there's a tremendous amount of time actually spent by the owner of the station, Mike Greenway. So we all want to help him, at least meet his expenses. So it's important. I usually suggest that people purchase the archives. They're full of wisdom. You pick the shows that you like. You download them, listen at your leisure, and it's beautiful. You learn, and we benefit from the small amount of $5 a month that you contribute to the station, and you can contribute, once a month or 3 times a year or whatever. But every $5 helps, believe me. So, okay, now let's get back to what we were talking about before we went on the break about the I think we were focused on, I can't quite remember, but I wanted to get into the Inipi, which is also called the Sweat Lodge. Is that correct, Barbara?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a lot of things going on in these ceremonies, and I know there's certain sacred parts of it that you probably can't talk about, but maybe if you could just explain to the listener why they're so therapeutic and helpful for people who get involved and how they work.
You want to take that, Barbara?
Oh, I'll do my best to share what I learned, what I know over these many years. Yeah, it's I guess I like to say, well, it's like a sacred house. It's an altar or a hochoka. I mean altar. Um, And some people say that it's like you go back into the womb of the mother. Um, you might say it's our church or our synagogue, but it's very ancient way to pray. And from the knowledge, from teachings that I received from my relative Wallace Black Elk, who was my teacher for about 14 years, um, is the star sister or star mother, I guess, white buffalo calf woman. Pescawian brought that tradition along with other, some say seven, ceremonies, along with the Chinupawakha, the sacred pipe to the people, and the teachings of following um, that sacred way, or we say the red road or the Chungaluta, or the red road, or walking in a sacred manner. And um, the tradition is a very ancient way of healing, prayer. I'd go there to pray, to get help, to speak to Creator. I always say, when you enter into this sacred house, it's like a basket, a woven basket turned upside down on the Mother Earth. But it's not just that, it goes into energetically. These saplings are placed into the ground and then they're bent over in a form that looks like an upturned basket. But the energetic of the saplings continues through so that there's a mirror of that basket, overturned basket on top, and the mirror is underneath. So there's a whole unit, a hoop, a sacred hoop on the top, and then goes down under the mother, if you could imagine that. So it's like a sphere. And it's built in a specific way. It's not just saplings cut down and thrown together. It's everything about this is done to honor and respect the tradition and the spirits, to honor Great Spirit, to honor the ancestors that you pray will come and help you. So everything we do, we place the saplings in a certain way. The way it's built is the sacred geometry is within that structure. Um, then there's the altar, and the placement of everything is significant. The altar outside the door. So when you enter, you get down on your hands and knees and you humble yourself and you crawl in and you go around and find your place to sit in this sacred hoop in this sacred house. And outside there is an altar, and then beyond that is the sacred fire. And everything is in alignment as the fire and the sun, fire, earth. And this is the way, we look at this as spheres in the cosmic realm, and what is above, so below. And for me, personally, um, it saved my life this way. I was guided to this pathway in the Lakota tradition, because I'm adopted Lakota. And I found this guided this way. It took many years, and to go home, I guess to say, find my way back home. And it did save my life this way. And the power of the chanumpa, the pipe, the sacred pipe, as we were talking about before, as Elaine was speaking about this, we say it's an unknown power. But it's a power, but it's unknown power. And I've seen people healed in this ceremony. This changes people's life. I've seen amazing, miraculous things happen. And it's an ancient way of a people who were persecuted for this way, who were um, killed and called devil worshippers, um, whose people were divided deliberately. Another agenda. If you divide the people, you can destroy this sacred knowledge, this sacred wisdom that really connects the people to the mother and to creator and to each other. So if you divide the people, so you have on the reservation what we call the reservation, although now we're saying we're all living on a reservation, but the Indian people were put on reservations on land that was, nobody wanted the land because it was scrubby land. It wasn't good land. Isn't it ironic that all the stuff that the government needs is under that land where they put the Indian people? They squeezed them and squeezed them and squeezed them onto these little tiny places that nobody really wanted. They gave them these little scrappy places. Now, all over, and it's even, everywhere on the reservations, you have the same thing in the Dene, same thing. The coal, Black Mountain, the liver of the mother, right? And so you have the Black Hills, gold was given to the people, right? Gold. All these were given by treaty, that's laughable. So you have a way of a people that united them and was gifted to them by a sacred being sent by Creator, Wakantanka. Now you have on the reservation, you have Methodists, Christians, Protestants, and you have the traditionals, what they call the traditionals. The traditionals are holding the tradition of their people. They follow the way of the ancestors. But they are looked upon by their own people as devil worshippers. And this is a big problem. The people, the original people, I call us the earth people. We are all earth people. But the ones who had the tribal connectedness, the tribal consciousness, I call it the tribal consciousness, means that you have a consciousness of your tribe, of your people. You are one people in relationship to this sacred mother. You are the stewards, the caretakers. Everybody had given that job, that position. So when you have these people who know the way to live in harmony with the fruits of what Creator gave us, and you have another people who come to Turtle Island, who see this sacred place, this beauty, and the people living under the clan mothers' systems, most of them, the majority of them, well, they had to get rid of that really fast. They had to stop that. They had to break the people because it's manifest destiny. Colonizers commit genocide.
Yeah.
So you have the colonizers came here to Turtle Island, United States, it's called now, and they saw paradise. And they saw a people where men and women walked side by side. They were in partnership, and they were in their minds and hearts. Everything they did was for the next coming 7 generations. That's how they lived their life. I'm just touching a few things here. So when you have this sacred ceremony, all of these ceremonies, the Sundance, the Inipi, or people call it the Sweat Lodge. I prefer to call it the Inipi, or the lodge um, are so powerful, so sacred and so powerful. And they were not allowed, the Indian people weren't allowed to pray this way. They were not allowed. Their sacreds were destroyed, confiscated, destroyed. They were imprisoned or even killed. The way of a people, they tried to destroy it because it held the sacred hoop in harmony and balance. And this here place, Turtle Island, and our ancestors, the ancestors who lived here, were the last ones to hold the sacred hoop together. And
Beautiful.
all of the others in across the waters in Europe, those tribal people, they were already corrupted and already lost their way. And little by little, the sacred hoop was being attacked. When it got here to Turtle Island, the sacred hoop was broken because it was the last people holding it all together for the mother, for the 7 generations. So it's hard to really describe what it is to go into this inipi. Um,
Barbara, can I just ask Elaine to give her version of it, see if it's any
sure.
different, or because I think she had different teachers. I'm just curious as to how similar it is, because you're living on different sides of the whole, of Turtle Island, so this is kind of
Yes.
curious about
Well,
that.
mother is mother, and she heals all of us in the same way. The teachings may be different in some aspects, but it's the same as we see the lodge as the womb of our mother, and we have the sacred mound and the sacred fire. If you were to view it from spirit, you can see that it's male and female in balance, united as one. Um, it's a place when you are done. It's a place that allows you for rebirth. It, as Barbara said, we see miracles all the time. People healed, um, people saved, people reborn into the ancient wisdom that was they tried to destroy, to take away from the people, but it has survived through generations. It's returning slowly. Uh, we see how conformed religions try to destroy the absolute truth of the sacredness of everything. Um, like Barbara, myself, I was saved. It was what really solidified my path, my purpose. Um, it's an honor to be in the position to be a lodge keeper, to tend to my brothers and sisters who are seeking to heal. Um, when they come out, they understand their connection with the earth. They tend to gardens with much more care. They wander through the wild parts of the world with more awareness. They can see that spirit is in everything. Um, it helps so many to uh, want to repair the sacred hoop that has been broken and damaged. Um, like Barbara said, I mean, when the colonialists came here, they were already broken. They were already corrupted and had been for a long time. Um, all walks of life have the ancient wisdom in them. There's small pockets all over the world that still hold true to the ancient teachings. And the word is, it's slowly getting out there because so many souls are just so disgusted with what's going on that they know that life can't continue the way it's going. And there isn't a planet B. Mother Earth is here. she supplies everything we need, our water, our air, the food, the medicines, shelter, clothing, everything that we need. She has enough to feed the populace of today's world, except that greed has taken over. And so, what Mother Earth can supply now only lasts maybe 6 months of the year, if that, because there's so much being stored away and held in a lauder, so that they can control the people, right? You control the food, you control the people, and um, it holds true with everything. Whereas, when you return to Mother, you return to her womb, you're reborn again. It's another chance. You find that your connection to Spirit, to Creator, to the magic of life still exists. And that is life changing for everyone who experiences it. Uh, Not a place where ego exists. Ego is bad medicine to be around the sweat lodge. Um, we've all experienced it on occasion, and we know for a fact that that's just not the place that we want to even think about going. We're there to help our brothers and sisters, not to place ourselves above them. We're all equal, and we all deserve a chance to heal in a natural way. It's just a beautiful mother embrace. I don't know how else to explain it. It's
Can
when
you
you're
do it
in.
on your own? Can you do it on your own? Or is it better in a group?
Um, well, I mean, if you've been taught how to run a sweat, yeah, of course
Mm.
you can do it on your own. Um, it's not recommended that you just try and sweat. I mean, I suppose that if you wanted to have a close experience, um, I mean, a sauna can do the same thing. It helps you to remove the toxins from your body. With anything with intent and energy can do the same thing. There's just some things that we don't do just because we can. There's protocols and respect and honor when it comes to the sweat lodge itself. It's another one of those things that you see people hijack. Just because someone runs a sweat doesn't mean that they're trained in it. We've seen sweat lodge that was run by a fellow where people died. People go in and think that they can demand things from those who are in the lodge. The only thing that can be asked from anyone who enters a lodge is that they listen to their own guidance. If they need to leave, then they're to leave. It's dangerous to ask someone to stay in to prove anything, because we don't know what these people are coming in with. There's underlying diseases and illnesses and things, and people can, they can die, and they have when they've entered into these places with people that don't know what they're doing. I've had people say, oh, I have an opportunity to run a sweat, and this person said, oh, but I hope you can clean up after yourself. Well, and of course ego steps in and they say, well, of course I can clean up after myself, and the only thing I ask is that these people stay in for the first round to honor the grandparents and show that that they're true to their path. And it's like, you can't do that. That's what this person is asking you. Can you clean up your mess? If you tell these people they have to stay in to show and prove that they honor the ancestors, and instead of listening to themselves, die because they may be diabetic or have other underlying health issues, how do you deal with that? you know uh, I mean,
Hmm.
it's dangerous to just assume that you can enter a lodge and bring in spirit, and there's a lot more going on than simple prayer in there. There is very
Hmm.
powerful healing. Heat can affect people differently. It's a place of sacredness. Um,
Hmm.
if you want to try, sweating, Brian, then try it in a sauna. Turn the lights out. Um, listen to yourself. Pray. Intention. There's a lot of people that run saunas, and that's fine. You have to be aware of who it is that's running a sweat, what their teachings are, what their understandings are, and other than otherwise, I mean, it is a beautiful place to be. It's one of the greatest healers. It's Mother Earth. It's all the elements all involved all at once. It's the great hoop. It's a beautiful
Beautiful.
place.
Beautiful. Well, yeah, I was trying to relate to it because I've never actually been in a sweat lodge or an ippie. But what I have done is I've done my yoga, and then I've gone into the even the hot yoga. But I was always encouraged to go in the sauna after my yoga, even if I did hot yoga and I really let out a lot of sweat. But I would always usually end up in a state of vibration. Is that common in? Is that a common spiritual experience in the sweat lodge, Barbara?
Well, I don't know if that particular experience you could say is common. I do want to say that I it's if someone has a
Would you ever
desire,
feel a vibration? Do you ever feel a healing vibration go through you, or is it more of a light connection?
I feel many things. There are many things that I experience. So it's not, I mean, people feel different things. But I do want to say about going into an inipi, as Elaine said, I totally agree with her. I tell people, um, you really should know who is pouring the water. It's called pouring the water for that ceremony. Not just jump into any ceremony because you feel called to it, because it is very powerful. And if you haven't been trained, it takes training really to, you really start, with the fire. As a lodge keeper myself, I started with the fire. That's the way grandfather taught me. You have to know the fire first. You have to become a fire keeper. You have to know the fire. You have to know the spirit of the fire, you know? And so there's steps to do this. You just don't say, gee, I'm going to put up a sweat lodge and call people in and put some blankets over and heat up some rocks and go in there and pour water on. You could do it, but, it's not an inipi. It's not a sacred spirit house or spirit lodge. It's, you know, um, so yeah, it's many people have, different types of experience. It's not, you just can't say if you go in there, you'll start having vibrations all over your body, you know. It's a personal experience. It's your personal, experience with Great Spirit, with Creator and the ancestors. And one thing that I found is that for me personally, it's learning how to pray.
Mhm.
Really learning how to pray. I never knew. I grew up Catholic, so I prayed according to how I was trained to pray, with words I didn't really even understand that somebody else wrote in a book. And going into this way, into the way of the people, um, taught me how to pray. Took me years to really learn how to pray. I was so programmed, and I didn't really know how to speak. I didn't know how to talk to Creator. I didn't know how to speak from my heart. And that's really what it is. It's not saying things that will sound good to other people in the lodge. It's not telling Creator what's going on in the world. We're in trouble. This is happening. That's because Creator already knows. You're in there to get help, to pray for either yourself or someone else. So I always say it's sort of like, the ancestors are waiting to hear what you called them for. What do you need? What's the help that you need? Speak from your heart to the ancestors, to Creator. It's really amazing how people don't really know how to pray. I was one of them. I'm still working on it.
I think we all are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's really so amazing to me. And I realized, growing up in Catholic school, Catholic church, where there was always somebody standing between me and creator.
Mhm.
There should not be anybody standing between you and your God, you and your creator. That's between you and the sacred being, God. Whatever you say, God, creator, Wankantanga, doesn't matter. There should
Mhm.
be no one standing in front of you telling you, if you do what I say, if you pray this way or say that or do that, then you'll get to God or heaven or wherever. You see, so they held us prisoner,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
we don't know how to get to God.
Yeah. I think the best gift that the bishop at the cathedral in Montreal ever did for me, because of course I always had questions, because so much doesn't make sense in the book, and he always answered, trusting God. So that's what I did. I left the church and I put myself out there to Creator to guide me and show me where I needed to be, allow me to manifest into this world what is required to bring it back to the way that it was originally created in balance and beauty. And, that in itself was, a great gift. Of course, they weren't too thrilled that I left the church, but for my soul and my spirit, that was, the beginning of a great journey. And yes, the NEP definitely helps you learn to speak one on one. You know, um, I think spirituality allows people to be empowered with their spirit instead of having someone else tell them where they should be.
Yeah, that's the difference between organized religion and
Hmm.
spirituality. As somebody's organizing you every moment,
Yeah.
organizing you, how what to do and how to get to uh, God or Creator. So
Yeah. How you
yeah,
should
that is a
feel, how you
very
should
big difference.
think. Yeah.
Exactly. How you
Yeah.
pray,
Yeah.
and so on. So so the Inipi is that's why I call it a sacred house or but it's definitely the womb of the mother,
Hmm.
and it is about rebirth, and it's yeah. I don't I don't recommend just jumping into an inipi with anybody, and I feel it's really important to know how that person walks and carries themselves, and the
Absolutely.
responsibility that they have. How is that?
Hmm.
Find out before you do, because people have been harmed.
Is
And
is there usually a fee attached to an NIPI, or are they supposed to be
No.
there's
free? How
never,
does that work?
ever,
No. No.
ever, 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 never is there a
No.
fee.
Mm-mm.
Now you see
Okay, because
this.
that's a safeguard for people to know.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
well,
No.
it's
No.
important because if anybody's
Absolutely.
charging for sacred ceremony,
Run the other way.
run the other way.
Yeah.
I would advise it because that is not the way. I mean, it's beautiful to gift an elder, of course, and the tobacco is traditional tobacco,
Hmm.
and to help support that elder, they need to probably take care of their family, or they need to buy food too. They may need to travel. We always support the elders. This is important, but there should never be a designated fee or charge for a
No.
ceremony.
No. We
Absolutely
gift.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gifting is, that's part of the tradition, but no fees are just no, not when it comes to ceremony.
And
Never.
I also want to say that it's not recommended. Well, let me see. I say I in before I in my ceremony before I tell people, if you have had any alcohol or any
Hmm.
drugs 4 days prior
Yeah.
to this ceremony, do not come.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh,
the spirits don't like that energy. It's a
no.
very dark energy. It's a very negative energy. It's a harmful energy, alcohol and drugs.
Yeah.
So that's why we say it's for the safety of that person and also the safety of everyone else.
Hmm. And it's hard. It's hard work holding that light. You
Oh,
know.
yeah.
I mean, as soon as they step into the sacred circle, though, we can tell. I
You
mean,
can
you
feel it.
may want to, yeah, and the same with Moontime. I mean, you may want to try and say, "Oh no, I'm okay," but as soon as you step into that circle, it's felt, And
You can feel it. And
absolutely.
I've seen people get, hurt from these things.
Yeah, I have too.
So
Yeah.
so it's not such a, like I said, Brian, it's something very sacred. It's an ancient tradition, and I say to the people, if you want to take part in this ancient tradition of a people, this was a sacred way, follow the rules. Don't come in there and decide, oh, I can change this. Oh, well, I don't have to pay attention. I can do it the way I want.
So,
You know.
no, I understand.
And
So
it's important.
how would one, if they wanted to experience this beautiful sacred ceremony, how would they arrange it with either one of you? What would be involved?
Well, I'm down here in somewhere in the Catskills, at Turtle Island down here along the Hudson River. If anybody's
And I'm
listening,
in
if anybody's
call
listening,
a sweat.
I don't
You don't
advertise.
advertise
It's
it?
word
You
of
just
mouth. No,
Yeah.
it's
yeah,
just
okay.
it's word of mouth. It's not something that I'd advertise. It's not,
No.
It's just I feel, somehow people find their way. Spirit guides them. They're supposed to come, they'll find their way.
Yeah.
That's how it is,
Yeah. I mean, I live in a small town, and when I began running the sweats and pouring, my teacher had said, like, don't worry, the people will come. And
Yeah.
I had people come from all across Canada, from the States, from the island,
Yep.
and I had never ever advertised. I had never said anything. They just showed up.
Yep.
And it was amazing, because they were drawn, and that's the way it is. Listening to spirit guidance, you're drawn, and you will end up where you are meant to be, and you will be, with those that are meant to raise your energies to help you move forward on your path, right?
It's like I feel that if somebody's listening and they they feel this calling, or they feel an urge, or they maybe like listening to us, they might say, yeah, I always wanted to do that. I would suggest that you pray on it, that you pray for the guidance. If spirit wants you, if creator wants you to be on this in one of these ceremonies, you will find your way. It will come to you. It's a good way to do that, is ask creator, put down some tobacco on the ground and say, a sacred tobacco, put it down and say, I humbly ask, to guide me, if this is where I'm supposed to go, help me to get there. It's not about what we want. I guess I'm saying, it's not about, oh yeah, I got a great idea. I just had someone say that to me. A person just bought property and was saying to me, yeah, I always wanted to put a sweat lodge up, and I just bought property. I want to put a sweat lodge up. And I'm looking at this person, and I was like, yeah, well, you have to really be trained to do this, because you can really harm people. I know people who have done that. Oh yeah, let's just do this. It's not. It could be harmful, maybe not, but it's not really.
It's not something to play with.
It's not
So
something to
there's
play
probably
with.
to do videos on YouTube on how to set up a sweat lodge. I would imagine.
What?
No.
What
There
did you
aren't any?
say? Oh,
No, but I'm not
so.
recommending them. But I'm just saying there's probably people on YouTube telling people how to set these things up.
oh, I think there are. There's people on YouTube doing all kinds of wacky things.
Yeah, that's true, isn't it? Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, we can't stop people from, disrespecting, dishonoring the traditions, right?
No.
And, yeah. I mean,
We don't wish any. Yeah.
All we can say is, really listen to your instincts, and if there's something that just doesn't feel right, then avoid it. Yeah.
It's true. There are people that have. Here's how I see it. I guess people are searching. People have a longing inside of them. And I think that the longing is their spirit inside trying to awaken them. And the true way, the real way, and I'm going to say this, is this way.
Yeah.
And I'm not arrogant by saying that. This is the true way. This is the real way. And so I think people are longing for this real way, because it's in their, it's part of their nature. It's part of their ancestral lineage.
Yeah.
going
I mean,
way.
and there are people out there who are taking advantage of that. You see it.
Exactly.
You see
That's
it. You see
exactly.
advertising for a healing retreat, and they're offering a sweat, and oh, we don't charge for the sweat, but you have to be here for 3 days, and you have to buy the food here because you're not allowed to cook at your camp. So by the time it's all said and done, these people have spent hundreds of dollars to step into the sweat lodge under the guise of it's 4 days of teaching you how to be inside the sweat lodge. And people are vulnerable, they're longing, they're searching, and there's always people out there who will try and take advantage of it. As Barbara said, drop tobacco, ask your guides to bring you a teacher to help show you the way so that you can find your way back to the ancient wisdom, to the old ancient hoop of life, right? And
Yeah,
they'll come. They
they
will.
will. They'll
Yeah.
find your way. You will. I mean, I guess I would say have patience and have trust. And when you
Yes.
put that tobacco down, that really will your prayer will be answered. You know.
Absolutely.
And I know people are hungry. I know people are longing and searching, and they're very vulnerable to others who claim this and claim they know that. And it's like, and that's a sad thing. And we have seen people harmed. And Elaine talked about this. These people dying down there in the Southwest with that guy who runs
Hmm.
these things. And the way he set up the lodge was all wrong. He had so many stones in there and poured tons of water, and people died.
Yeah.
This is unheard of in our
Hmm.
way.
Yeah.
It's
It's not to
unheard of.
harm. Yeah. It's not meant to harm in
Exactly. And
any
it's
way.
not a punishing law. It's not to
No.
be punished in there. This is not a torture chamber. This
Hmm.
shouldn't be that way.
No.
This is the beauty way. It's sacred. It's
I'm curious as if some of these yogis who've adopted the hot yoga, what they were inspired by the sweat lodge. Yeah, I'm curious. I
Yeah,
bet
there's
you there's some
lodges. There's
connection.
lodges in
all
all of the
cultures.
all
Yeah,
cultures. Yeah.
Hmm.
all cultures.
Yeah. I
And
mean
I have
the
to say, scientists just recently came out with a study that they found that when people go into a heated, they set up a little lodge situation, like, and they studied people, took all kinds of tests and blah blah blah, and they found out that when people go into this, it actually changes things in their system and raises their good stuff and eliminates the bad stuff, whatever they.
there's science catching up to
It
what
is right.
we've always known, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, the
It's so
thing is,
funny.
Brian, yeah, the thing is, Brian, when you're in the lodge, to some people, it may feel scalding hot, where other people may feel that it was a really light sweat.
You could be
Um,
sitting right next to that person.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, they could be profusely, and they'll come out and their skin will look like they've been sitting in intense heat, yet you yourself have been in just basic comfort,
You've been
right?
encased in a bubble.
And
Yeah.
do you
Yeah.
ever see
Beautiful.
do you ever see healing spirits coming in and helping people?
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
all the time. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's all
That's
part of
yeah.
it.
It's all
Yeah,
part of it. It's so
it's
beautiful. It's
beautiful.
it's such a
Yes.
blessing. I feel so humbled, and like I said, the first time I went into the Inipi, I just wept because I felt like
Yeah,
I had come home. I'd been searching for this pretty much most of my life,
absolutely. Yeah.
and it did save my life. I don't think I'd be here,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah,
So it's like it's a very sacred um, gift that
it
the
is.
creator gave us, and it's been being abused, as the sacred pipe has been being abused, and you have an
Yeah.
energy, a power in that pipe, an unknown power. And I have seen things happen when people disrespect that pipe. It's not good. This is
No.
unknown power, and
And
people have
and
been
there's
healed through that pipe.
yeah, and there's proof in the fact that there's power in the pipe, just by the way that the military force has acted towards that pipe. It scares them so much because
That's
there is
right.
so much power in it. That's why they're treating it the way they are,
That's
because it
right.
scares them. Yeah, our power, our prayers and feathers and pipes,
Yeah.
it
Our
scares them.
rattles, our
Oh,
drums,
yeah, yeah.
that's our songs,
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
prayers, the way everything is is old. It's ancient,
A
and
sacred walk. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
And so when you have this, they know the power of that, and they want to destroy it. They're working
Yeah.
very hard to destroy that. They will never destroy this.
No, they won't. They've been trying for how long, and we just keep getting stronger.
Yeah.
And now we have more allies standing with us every day.
Now we
As
have more
people
people
awaken.
waking up. That's right.
Yep. And
More
as
people.
they awaken, they empower so much faster. I mean, that's why I say, the further you go, the faster you grow. It's I mean, it's just amazing. And I think myself personally, what I love to see is working and helping somebody awaken and watch them surpass me in their remembering. I mean,
Yeah, it's
for me
beautiful.
to see
Mm,
somebody soar,
hmm.
there's nothing like it. Yeah, there's nothing like it. Yeah.
Do you
And
spot students who you think would be good at becoming, or are participants? You think, oh yeah, you'd be good at running one of these?
No, I never
no,
say somebody
mm-mm,
be good at running a
no,
lodge, because this is something that they're called to
yeah,
by spirit. It's not something that you decide on your own.
no.
This is something, as I said, it's very sacred. It's like somebody who comes to me and says, "Gee, I've been thinking I want to carry a pipe." I say, "Oh, really?"
Mm.
No, but
I was told by
you
my
don't listen to
teacher.
the experiences and figure, oh, this person would be good for this.
In some cases, but it's a journey they have to take. It's not
Yeah.
something the next day they're on that. This
Hmm.
is years. When Wallace Black Elk told me that I needed to carry a Chanumpa, I didn't respond for months.
Hmm.
I acted like I didn't hear him. I didn't want to hear him. I
Yeah.
was terrified,
Yeah. I know.
terrified,
Yeah.
because
I know that feeling. That's a lot of
this is a huge
responsibility.
responsibility you're
Yeah.
talking about. If you understand what that power of this is, if you understand the sacredness that will be in your hands, that you are responsible as a caretaker of one of those sacred pipes.
Yeah.
No, I didn't jump on that.
No.
And it took me months to say to him, "Grandfather, did you say that I should carry a chanumpa?" And he said, "Yes, you don't listen." So, it took me another couple of months, because I had to clean up my act.
Yeah.
I had stuff
It's a lot of.
I needed to clean up some stuff. And one of the main things I had to clean up was my doubt.
Hmm.
You cannot have doubt and carry that
No, none at
sacred.
all.
No
No.
way.
No.
You have to be clean. You have to be
Yeah.
clean of your words, clean in your heart and your mind. You cannot, because there's a power you're dealing with. So you have people, all kinds of people, just buying a pipe in the store, or just saying, I mean, this is dangerous.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
It's very dangerous. So no,
Yeah.
I've often seen people who I say, okay, this person has something, but I don't approach them and say, hey, you've got something and you're going to do this and that. I never do that, because its
Mm-mm.
spirit has to speak in some way. Either
Yeah.
they have a dream and then they come to you, or certain things occur. You're watching them, but it's not somebody. They have to find something inside of their own spirit to bring them to you, that brings them to you, and then you start talking to them, and then it's a process. It's steps they have to take, and that's not always assured that they're going to follow through. I've seen that
No.
happen.
And it's not easy because I've seen students that have been bit by the fire and the water and the rocks.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh, big.
and it's
I've
like,
seen that too.
yeah, you're not
You're
from
not
your
listening.
heart. No, you're not. I've
You're
seen
not
some stubborn,
listening.
and it's like, oh no.
So you guys have never taught anyone else how to do this?
Oh yeah,
It's
Oh yes,
yeah.
I have. Yeah.
okay. That's kind of what I'm getting at.
Well, you asked if we say, pick somebody, but no, we don't pick anybody.
Okay.
Spirit brings them to us,
That's right.
right? And
Yeah.
it's a process, right? It's not something like, oh yeah, you'd be great at this, right? We've never said that to anybody,
No.
right? But we have had
As a matter
students.
of fact, I tell them how really serious and the big responsibility it is. I
Yeah,
tell them, I try to dissuade them.
yeah. Well, actually, I've only actually had one student, and I don't believe to this day she has actually poured a sweat yet, because she's still learning.
Yeah, I have a student who's my firekeeper,
Mm.
who has not poured a lodge, and it's like 15 years.
No, see, yeah.
And I have a new student who, for the only the first time after about 6 years has gone on an overnight.
Hmm.
And it's a very slow, I'm listening, to spirit's guidance.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that's the way you do it. There's no rushing into this.
No.
No
No, and I
rushing.
mean, I've also met lodge keepers who themselves have never sat, um, done a teaching, a learning sweat for themselves, sat in the lodge themselves, only with spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really quite surprised.
So have you taught anyone that has graduated that has gone on to do their own sweat lodge?
No.
No,
No.
You're kidding.
no,
No.
Wow.
no. There's so much responsibility. I mean, people, they may be brought to us to, because that's what they've been guided to do. But spirit doesn't always, like, it's like, okay, yeah, this is what you need to learn, but you're not ready. You're not ready,
Exactly.
because that you need to be in the heart. You need to understand the responsibilities. You need to understand that, spirit flows through you, plain and simple. Your you have certain control, but you're not in control.
And I will say that the one thing grandfather told me that turned out to be so true, he said, when you pick up that chinampa, running alongside of you will be doubt, jealousy, fear, negativity.
Mm,
And if you go that way, if you look that way, you may never get back.
that's right. Yeah.
That's so you have to be a certain type of person to carry this responsibility.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And there's not a lot of people out there that, are able to stand without a doubt, without fear, and strong in the knowing that, what they are doing is for the greater good of all, and it's not to do with ourselves.
Yeah, it's not. It's like it's not my chanumpa.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
carry this. I'm a caretaker of this for the people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. It sounds like anyone who was had the good fortune of being drawn to you guys would do very well. I was just thinking of it as a way to help people work better together because there's a lot of issues in the activist community around inability to cooperate and work together, and it's one of my main mantras with my fellow activists. We're not going to get anywhere to heal this planet if we can't learn how to work together.
Well, giving everybody
Well,
chanumpas and the ability to pour water is not a way.
no.
It's
But
just not.
on the other hand, it's probably why grandmothers have been guiding me to put together a healers retreat, so that we can bring the healers together and work through these issues, right? To get to the point of people understanding that they're one, that there is none greater than another. We're all working for the same purpose, for the love of the earth, for the
Hmm.
love of life, for the next 7 generations, to make sure that the world remains for the future generations. Things have to change, and it can only change if we come together,
So
right?
yeah,
And
so if I organized the conference, we could have an inipi as part of the conference, maybe at the beginning of it. For
you
us,
could,
Yes, you could.
you could, yeah.
it would be a good way to bring
We'd
us
have
together.
to
Well,
feel the
before we
guidance.
do, yeah, I mean, before I do anything, and I think that Elaine would agree with me, before we do anything on the level of what we would consider a teaching or sacred